everybody, and welcome again to International Stress Awareness Day 2018. And I am very pleased because today I have a very special person here who is even very dear to me personally, Lee Johnson, founder and managing director of the EEUK company, a multi-million dollar a pound organization, of course, because he's from the UK, based in the heart of England, that specializes in controlling health and safety risk in all workplaces across the UK. Now, his strengths lie, of course, in business growth, sales, and marketing, but he is also a coach and mentor to business owners across the globe. So I can assure you that he is a passionate individual that thoroughly believes in everything that has to do with stress, personal development, and development of other people. Welcome, Mr. Lee Johnson. I'm so happy to talk to you today.
Wow, what an introduction that was, by the way. Thank you. It's almost like I wrote that myself, Danielle. Wow, thank you. Now, good morning.
Yeah, Lee, is there anything that you would like to add for the audience that you would say, you know, something about you personally instead of all this official kind of thing?
Okay, I can do, yeah. Your introduction was fantastic. Thank you very much. That is what I do, obviously. I have a family, which is very dear to me from a personal perspective, outside of the day-to-day grind, if you like. I'm very happily married with two wonderful children, two boys who are very energetic and take lots and lots of time. You know, I'm a very keen cricketer from a personal point of view.
Yeah.
It's winter here. This is, I assume, is going out across the globe. So winter's coming, so cricket season's finished. Giving me a bit more time now to focus a little bit more on business growth again. Yeah, I think you summed everything up pretty well in your wonderful introduction.
Thank you. Now, let's just jump in and let me ask you the one question, the theme that it is all about, this International Stress Awareness Day, this online summit.
Okay.
Does high tech cause indeed high stress, in your humble opinion?
Well, that's an interesting question, isn't it? And one, I suppose, provides many answers, I would think, depending upon who you ask. The reality is technology, and I assume you mean technology when we refer to high tech. Technology is moving on, and the intention of technology is to make things and life better, faster, easier. So in reality, technology is here to make things better. However, the issue for me isn't what's created. The issue for me is what it leaves behind, if that makes sense. And if I can elaborate and explain what I mean by that is because the one thing that I find in the workplace with people, and I employ over 55 people now, and I work in businesses across the UK, so I spend lots of time with lots of employees. People don't like change, and it's change that causes stress within workplaces. Now, it's all well and good saying we're bringing in this system that's going to make life easier, faster, better, but change really, for want of a better phrase, really scrambles people's eggs. So there's a whole education around technology for me that can be implemented, in my opinion, to try and not eliminate, because I don't think that's going to be possible, but try and reduce pressures that then moves forward to create stress. Which is something that nobody wants, really. Unfortunately, it's growing, it's getting bigger, and it's something that does need to be addressed. But yeah, for me, it's not what technology brings, it's what it leaves behind. And if people are having to change, does that mean their roles change? Are they capable of doing the role? Does that then affect their personal, what's the word I'm looking for? Self-confidence, self-awareness, self-belief, if you like. Does that all change? When people feel that their job is no longer as important as it used to be because it's now been made easier, faster, better. Is a 40-hour week now a 20-hour week? What happens? Does that make sense?
Yes, of course. Of course.
Yeah. So
I hear you saying that the answer is quite complex. Now,
Hmm.
how did you personally get involved in the health and safety risk business, which is also a bit related to stress? And what is your experience with stress in that field?
Okay, so my story goes back now 25 years. Ooh, blimey. Yeah, 25 years. And I was sitting, I was at college. I was sitting, I was about to go to university to teach. You may not know this, actually, Danielle. I don't know if I've told you. I might have. But I was going to go to university to learn to become a teacher. And fortunately, a friend asked if there was a trainee position going in a local consultancy, would I be interested? And without thinking, I said, yes, I'll do it. So I didn't have to go to uni. I didn't want to do that. It just wasn't for me. And I, by default, landed in a consultancy role in a safety consultancy that focused actually on asbestos management, which is not something I ever get involved in. But as a result of that, things developed, and I developed a taste for learning, which was bizarre because I never wanted to do it at school, never wanted to do it at college. I didn't want to go to uni, but as soon as I started work, I wanted to learn, which it's a bit Benjamin Button, isn't it? It's a bit backwards, really, the way if you think about it. But over a number of years, so from there it was about 8-9 years, I worked for different consultancies, learning different things to become the workplace health-based consultant, not safety. Now, health and safety is a big term, but actually, if you think about it, safety and health are two different things. Safety in the workplace prevents you from having accidents, prevents you from having your arms and legs chopped off in the workplace, things like that. I know I'm being a bit glib about it, but health is different. Health is, and we're focused on physical health. And I just want to say that before we move forward. But physical health is where we go in to identify long-term effects that the workplace can have. So things that people can breathe in, noise that people are exposed to, vibration from vibrating equipment, tools that they use, exposure to legionnaires in water systems, etc. So I'm going around the houses a lot now just to explain, how I sort of fell into this.
Yeah.
But ultimately, my business is always focused on the physical side of health.
Okay.
And obviously, as time has developed, there's a mental side to things. Yeah. So, and the workplace is full of stress. Yeah. And I'm doing a lot of learning. I'm spending a lot of time around experts, such as yourself. So my awareness of this is elevated. As you know, I have a personal circumstance which I have no problem talking about, with a situation where my wife was not mentally well for a significant period of time, and through the support with you is in a fantastic place right now. So my awareness of stress is elevated. It's still not dealt with as a physical illness. If we've got a cold or we've got a sniffle or we've got something, we'll go to the doctors. But if we're not mentally well, we wouldn't. Why is that? Well, it's not. It's still it is now the single most common cause of absence in the workplace. It costs billions and billions a year when people are not at work. But the biggest cost is when people are actually at work, but are just not capable of being there, which is presenteeism, which obviously you're probably familiar with. But yeah, I think education is the key. I think we need to educate the world and talk to people and tell them that it's actually okay. Yeah. Being ill is being ill, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, it's the same thing for me.
It's the consciousness about it, isn't it? It's being conscious around it and being aware. And like you say, if everybody could, that is actually, it's nice that you say that, Lee, because it's actually the purpose of this whole summit is to raise the awareness around stress. And now, high stress in the workplace, I mean, we all know it exists. Do you think technology makes it worse? I think your answer was already a little bit in the first question we asked.
Yeah, I think so.
Does technology make it worse?
Yeah, sorry. Again, it's an interesting, and I think, we touched on this earlier on in the first question, but for me, I think the technology is brought in for the right reasons from a business perspective. It's brought in to make things better, to make businesses more efficient, because if you build a business to a certain size, technology brings about efficiencies that a business of a bigger business has to adopt. If you can do things better, faster, cheaper, etc., then the business owner has to do so. But as I said before, it's not what technology does, it's what it leaves behind for me when relating it to stress. Now, you know, the person that's been working there for 10 years, that's been the most important person in the business, is all of a sudden no longer in that position. What does that do to them? You know, so there has to be change management's really important. And we all go through a process of change, and not many people actually like change and embrace change. And the reaction to that generates the stress, and it's within, you know, and it becomes bigger because it's perceived within than the reality, than it actually is, you know. So that needs managing, that needs discussing. So that, you know, as opposed to the question, we did touch on it before, but does it make it worse? I don't think technology makes it worse, if I'm being honest. I think the effects of technology makes it worse.
I agree.
Not with everybody, because as you know, everyone's got stress containers of different sizes. You know, and if people, there are many people who will embrace it, move forward, but there will be many people that don't. And what happens to them?
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of work to do there. But can I ask you a personal question? How do you personally deal with stress, or even as an example for your children? Because I've been interviewing also people, you know, experts here who deal with children, which is quite an amazing part. You know, we can't ignore it anymore for our next generations to come. Now, how do you deal with stress personally and within the family, for example?
It's an interesting question. I giggle because I'm going to answer this in two parts, actually, Danielle, if I may. I'm going to tell you how I used to deal with it, okay, and then I'll tell you how I now deal with it. So before awareness levels increase, okay, you know me, I'm a bit of a doer, and I like to do things at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So if I was stressed, my idea of solution would be to do more, make it happen, fix it. Ultimately, all I was doing was compounding. I mean, and stress is a mental illness, as far as I'm concerned. You know, that creates anxiety. Obviously, anxiety is the mental stress.
The negative stress. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, stress isn't the illness. Stress is the contributor to the illness, in my opinion. Obviously, you're the expert, but yeah, I'd pretend it didn't exist. I wasn't even aware that I was mentally ill, and I'm sure in my times I was mentally ill on many occasions. But I didn't know that was mentally ill. I just thought it was just normal life. So what did I do? I had to go out and fix it. I'd take it all on my own, my shoulders. I wouldn't want to upset the family. I wouldn't want them. And the pressures and the stresses that were created, I just had to battle through. And fortunately, I must have had quite a sizable stress container, because most of the time I actually got through it. You know, there are times when you know, it becomes all consuming. Now, fast forward through a few of the challenges that I and Jane, my wife, have faced. My awareness of stress is very different. So what do I do now? I unload, I suppose. I put myself in places where I can unload and deal with it properly. I talk about it. I have a coach. I surround myself with people such as you, and I talk about it and realize, and I step back and realize, hold on a minute, this isn't right. You know, if this is how you're feeling, if it's all too much and it's all consuming. The life of an entrepreneur should be about balance, really. We do what we do because we want a better life, to be free. But why is it most entrepreneurs get so stuck into the day-to-day, they forget the reason why we do it? So I purposely take myself out of reality sometimes, not reality, but out of everyday life, sit away. And as you know, I'm part of a mastermind group where I disappear for 2 or 3 days at a time, and I just sit in a room with people and we just unload, and we talk about challenges, we talk about solutions, and we work together collectively to fight a way through. And ultimately, as soon as you finish the 2 or 3 days, life's different.
Yeah, interesting. And what about your daily? Is there a daily thing that you do against stress?
No, not personally. actually. Maybe there should be. I've got lots of people who I'm aware of in a similar position to me run businesses that do things like meditation. That doesn't work for me. And I say that not because I've tried it. The idea for me of just sitting 20, 30 minutes of nothingness doesn't sort of sit right. You know me, you know how I operate. But I tend to try and manage time well. I prioritise well, and I accept what can be done and what can't be done. And if it can't be done, I've learned to just be with that. So for me, what a great way of managing stress and things to do, because I always say, as you're aware, I always say things like, it's not what we do that causes stress, it's the timelines that we apply to those things that create the stress. So I build my goals in cement and timelines in sand, and ultimately it's fine to move them on. And what's the rush?
But can I ask you, because I just want to go a little bit in a different direction here. I find it very interesting to see how people deal with their devices, because I was just saying in the other interview with Graham Codrington, I read an article where there's a study that we touch about 2,500 times our smartphone, so I mean, that's a huge number. Can you tell me something about how you cope with devices, how your stress around devices, how that goes? And even at work, do the devices have any influence on people's stress?
Well, I'm going to talk about me, and then I'm going to talk about the impacts of others, because it's different. Because I'm one of those fortunate individuals that is a bit of a technophobe and doesn't really get on too well with all these devices. My phone is a phone. And actually, I'm one of the few people that still uses it as a phone. I've got it here. It's there to phone people, and I put it down. There's everything you can do on it. And I don't get into all of that. And I don't spend too much time on social media because it doesn't interest me, because I'm too busy doing what I'm doing. I've got my own things to do, and the opinions and thoughts of whatever it doesn't serve me. So I keep away from it. That said, I've also got 2 children that don't allow me to hang around on my devices because they are too busy playing the Fortnite or whatever the game is. So I don't have too much issue with that. However, I am seeing the future. My children are not going to be in the same position because they are obsessed, addicted, as is every child. And you see it yourself, where you go to restaurants, you go to busy places, and everybody's got their head down and the face deep in the phones, the iPads, the whatever, and they forget that they're just missing everything that's going on around them. The ability to communicate now is dwindling, and I blame the mobile phone for that. I was brought up in a world where if you were in a spot and an area of challenge, you had to find a way to overcome it. What do children do now? They phone the parents and say, what do I do? Now, that's all well and good, because we want our children to be safe, and I get that. And you know what? In time, my children will probably have a phone when they're off doing these things, because that's the way of the world now. But what impact does that have on the next generation when we need people to make decisions in businesses to run the country? And nobody, what they're going to do? Oh, sorry, let me just phone my mum and answer that question. So I think technology is necessary. It's the way of the world. I embrace it. I accept it. But I think we have to learn to live with the consequences it's going to create.
We can't lose that human connection, that human, involvement, that human, I think, like, empathy, living your purpose, all that kind of thing, like on a deeper level. We need to go a little bit on a deeper level, because we've got technology to give us everything on the surface. I see it a bit like that. Now, how do you have a tip for the audience, or something that you could say, that that is something that I would advise, even if it's from your business point of view, your mentoring point of view, your leader point of view? Is there something that you could say to the audience that is a tip? Because for example, you're only using your phone to phone. That in itself is already, I did the same, so I understand completely. But for some people, that is like, how do I do that? So is there a tip or something that you could give to the audience?
I mean, I'm not going to tell people what to do, but I can explain what I do. And I think the key from a business point of view educate people well around the reasons for technology, and that should, you know, and what that does for them and how that will enhance their life to do their job. And I think that will really help in the business workplace, rather than just many business owners still rule with an iron rod, if you like, and it's my way or the highway kind of thing. And that's just not the way it is, because of the lack of interaction that kids are having in the next generation that's coming. They're a little bit softer. They're a little bit, I don't know if soft is the right word, but communication is necessary to tell them the reasons why. And gone are the days where you can just point your finger and say, do this and do that, because people are a little more fragile now, because they don't have the human interaction that we used to have, and that made us a little bit tougher. So for me, be patient, accept that the world is changing. Don't act like you used to do, because you're perfectly equipped to live in a world that's long since gone, you know. So, you know, be patient, educate, and allow people to move forward, and that will certainly help. Now, from a family point of view, what I do, my kids get half an hour. They probably sneak an hour every night as a maximum, and then we do the homework together. We chat. We get rid of TVs. We get rid of things, because I want my children to be able to communicate. And whilst they're sitting on, you know, and they're playing the things and they're doing what they're doing, they're living in their own little world, and they're away and they're not interacting. And for me, you know, I'll explain what I mean by that and why it's important to me, because somebody asked me once, if you could leave your children with anything in the world, and what would it be? And I said, I thought about it, I said, the ability to sell. Because if you can sell, you're always going to be okay in any walk of life, not just the sales environment, but in every environment. Because if you can communicate, you can ask the right questions well, you're always going to do okay, in my opinion. So on that basis, in order to do that, people have got to learn how to communicate properly. So my children need to have time communicating. We spend lots of time in places that are cricket clubs, for example, you know, where there's lots of people, and, you know, and our summer is spent outdoors at the cricket with all the cricket club. And that's important, because my kids are learning how to be around people.
Okay.
And that's important to me.
I really, really appreciate that, because that is what we stand for anyway here in my house, in my household as well, even with the grandchildren, you know, take time with them, take time to play, quality time. It's so important. We have so much quantity things and not enough quality things around, you know. Lee Johnson, I just want to thank you, because time is, you know, running, and I just want one word or one phrase from you. You know, this is like a little surprise maybe for you, but I just want a mantra or something, one word or one phrase, no 10 sentences, just, you know, one thing that you would like to end this thing with, a philosophy of yours, a quote that you like, something that, you know, contributes to, you know, to this interview, to wrap it up.
Wow. Thanks for that, Danielle. You have put me on the spot. I don't know. I suppose to follow on the, you know, the core of what we've been talking about, it is education and awareness.
Okay.
You know, people don't know what they don't know, and that's fine. You know, educate
and awareness. Let's leave it at that, because otherwise we have another 10 minutes talk.
No, that's fine. You did catch me on the hop a little bit there. I hadn't prepared for that, so. But yeah, I think so.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, Lee Johnson. Thank you for all the practical advice from a totally different point of view. We have so many different experts in this Stress Summit. We are so pleased. I'm going to wrap up this interview. Thank you so much. Talking to you was amazing, Lee Johnson. I just want to say to our audience, you can go to the website, you can review all the interviews that we've done so far. So please enjoy, raise the awareness of stress around you. And International Stress Awareness Day is not for nothing. It is important for us, and let's all just contribute to this. Bye-bye for now. Thank you, Lee. Bye-bye.
No, it's a pleasure. Bye.